Alright, now we can begin the process of UV unwrapping to begin the texturing. To start out, I divided the model into these categories because we want her to have only 4 textures to pull from. So we're going to start with the fabric first. I created a brand new texture, fabric sun texture. We're going to be doing the sun first and then go back around to making the moon texture. Alright. I made this bad UV unwrapping just as an example, because this here is mirrored, so if we were to apply it now, this would be 2 of them. So we'll go to unwrap this one first. Just turn off subdivision surface first. Actually, we don't need to. Select all here. Mark seam. Select here and here. Mark seam. You want to place the seams in areas that will cut it fair. Right here, here. And right here should be fine. Let's actually select these here. Here should be a good cut. Alt E, mark seam. And now all that leads is this part right here, which we can put a cut going through right here. Alt E, mark seam. Alright, let's see how this looks. It unwrapped it really well. However, we don't need this part of the seam, so I'll go ahead and remove that one. You can also, come on now, hold down Control, just auto clicks it, clear seam. Now let's do that again. Whoops, should have left that one right here. A little bit of trial and error in this, but it's fine. Yep, the top of the foot, the heel, and the inside of the gear right here. So this one can just go real small. Just go to put it in here. Moving this over. Select all this and move it down here. Now if we hit apply mirror, we see now there is 2 of them on top of each other. Alright, so now we just hide that and go to the next one. Let's work our way up. Once again, another one that has the mirror access. But before I apply that, I want to unwrap. That looks good. You unwrap. I figured as much. Alright, go to the back. It's always best to unwrap in areas that ain't usually seen, which is usually the back of models, because that seam may be noticeable. This one probably just needs to be unwrapped. Yep. And this one here, just go to the back. Mark seam. Unwrap. Yep. Alt H. Deselect all of them, unwrap, stop here, unwrap, and this is perfectly fine. Now we just have to select everything, L here, R, X, move that out, select everything and move it up. I want to add one more modifier to this, and that is the solidify modifier. Raise the thickness a little bit. And that looks good. Leg ribbons are done. Now the actual legs. We're going to do those last because I want to do this one. Unwrap. As expected, it came out great. So hide it. Mark seam. Wrap. Yikes. Sometimes they come with their own unwraps that are pretty good. But we don't want that, so unwrap it on the inside here. Mark seam. Perfect. Alt H to unhide. GX, move that out of the way a little bit. Just rotate it. It's like one big origami. Go ahead and turn that down by 1. We don't need it that much. And solidify. Let's do 0.1. Yeah, that looks good. Alright, hide that one. The ribbon. These here. I'll unwrap. Mirror modifier, that's why. So we're gonna unwrap this one. Then we're gonna, solid view. Go here. Put a cut right here. Unwrap. And now that these two unwrap. There we go. That looks good. Now we will apply the mirror. And now we have it on top of each of them. So now I'll go ahead and merge by distance. Select all in the center. Mark seam. Unwrap. This is the back. I'll unwrap that one and make this one dramatically smaller since it's facing away from the camera, while the one that's facing towards the camera will be bigger. Alright, selecting all these. GX moving left. Now I'm selecting here and moving these into a proper place. Scale this one down. Scale this one far down. Before I actually put it right here. That's fine. Alright, hide that ribbon. Now we can go ahead and do the waist now that that's out of the way. Alright. Mirror modifier, it's not on, but that's fine. Select the top part of the legs. Mark seam. Go down to the bottom here. This is going to be a fun one. Find the edges. Right in here. E, mark seam. And do the same here. E, mark seam. Let's go ahead and come through here. Selecting all these edges. Alt E, mark seam. Now we can safely unwrap it. Let's unwrap these two together, so they'll be almost the same size. Whoops, forgot to put a cut in them. So go do that now. Select in here and coming all the way up. We can do the same on this end. Go to the back and deselect here. Mark seam. Now we can unwrap them. Perfect. Selecting these and move them down. We want to use these differently because we don't want the stars to align exactly. Although, yeah, we don't want the stars to align exactly. For a split second, it looked like that was the exact same that was happening. Go ahead and save it while we have the chance. The bottoms here, you unwrap. Make them kind of small because we don't need them as much. Hide these. And unwrap these two together. And those are the waist. So moving these over here. Alt H. Now let's go ahead and put all these back on there. GY. Since there's no Z axis, we have to use the Y. Individual origins, make them slightly smaller. Moving these up there. And now we can move these. This time to medium point. There we go. That's the legs done. Select them all and move them over. Let's go ahead and do the hat now because it's pretty big as well. Ooh, what's happening in here? Smooth that. Okay. Once again, selecting all the edges. Alt E, mark seam. Cursor all the way through, but we could deselect in here. Let's actually do this so we can have a little bit more room. Turn proportional editing, S0, M by distance, select all here and smooth. Nah, that was a bad idea. Oh, well, we could just select right here and just unwrap it normally. Oh, actually, no, let's unwrap it on this edge. Alt E, mark seam, and let's see how this looks. That looks pretty okay, but I think if we unwrap it here as well, it'll look a little better. It's all about trial and error. Mark seam. Let's see how this. Nope. Let's see how this looks. Alt E, mark seam. That looks pretty good. I'll go to keep it like that. Actually, let's put it right here. Alt E, mark seam. Alt E clear seam, and now let's see how that one looks. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Alright, hat is done, so select everything and move it up here. The ribbons are exactly the same, so I'll actually go ahead and delete these ribbons and duplicate the ribbons that I made earlier and put them here. I made a mistake here and applied the mirror and extruded it when I shouldn't have. So now I'll have to fix this mistake right now. Let's actually just select the top part of this after unwrapping this. Unwrap. Yep. We would have to hide these for now. This was a mistake on my part, so I'm apologizing for that. Shift D, moving it up, because we were going to solidify this, so Alt H now, unwrap, and we got the top part, so go ahead and move that out of the way, apply that mirror, and now we gotta wrap these fairly normal. Mark seam. Already got both of these done. And unwrap again, and that's the bottom. So Alt H to unhide all of it. Selecting all three of these and unwrapping. If you have trouble, turn on this, but remember to always go to face select, because if not, it'll cut weirdly. Let's make this one smaller, because that's the one that's on the bottom. It won't be as seen as often. Make this one slightly bigger. Select all these. That looks fine. And now just select through here. Make this one smaller because this ribbon part is the most important. So about right. That looks good. That's a good size. Just moving this because you don't want none of the UVs to overlap. And that's done for that part. This is another one I should not have solidified. So instead, I'll just take all these, Shift D, H, then delete, Shift D, H, and delete, Shift D, H, delete. The solidifier modifier is your friend, but sometimes you gotta be careful. Unwrap. Since these are all the same, they can share the exact same texture, especially since the sun itself, the ribbons are actually different colors, so they can't all share the exact same. So select random ones like this one, This one. Those look fine. So unwrap, unwrap, unwrap. Unwrap, unwrap. Which one was that one? Unwrap. This one down here is this one. Unwrap. All right. GY1, GY1, and GY. Oh. GY1. Let's select just another random one. GY1. SX -1. And now all these are in the same, so they can move down. GY. And now the ribbons are done. Alright, the final ribbons are right here. Once again, another one I should not have solidified. So I'll go ahead and get rid of the backs of these. You unwrap. You unwrap. Turning off this. SY -1. UV. Pack islands. Perfect. They're right over each other. Alright, now go to the back. I'll mark seam. Unwrap and hide. Go into the back. Alt E, mark seam. Unwrap. And now I just think these can be unwrapped perfectly fine. Nope, one of those is in fact going all the way around. Go ahead and put it here. Yeah, go ahead and put it right here. I'll mark seam. And this one can mark seam as well. Unwrap. Mark seam. Unwrap. Alt H. Select them all except for these. And that one. You unwrap. You unwrap. Alright, that looks good. Select all. Make these small. Select all this. Move. Whoops. Forgot one. Move them in. Or 90. Move them up here. Which one is this? Okay. Rotate this. Scale it up. That's a good size. Scale this down now. GX, move it over. Sometimes things like that happen. You just have to live with it and just fix it. Scale it down just a little bit so it ain't hugging the edge. Alright, that's that. We got all the ribbons done, so we can unhide them all. And now look at all we have to move around. Let's start with the biggest ones first, because they'll take up a bulk. The pants. Let's actually move these out of the way. What are you? Whoops. You unwrap. You unwrap. SY -1. UV. Pack Islands. UV Pack Islands. UV Pack Islands. Okay, R90 UV Pack Islands. That's weird. I don't know why it's doing that. So select all this. Cursor to selected. Selection of cursor. Nope. Just gonna have to manually do it then. Snapping vertex. It doesn't work that way no more. Oh well. Alright, all these selected. Move them out. Let's move the pants in as they need to take up the most space. That's a good bit. Now we need the pants right here. These two pants. Let's rotate them. 180. That's the front, so it should be bigger. GY. Scale them down. Yep. Back of the leg, back of the feet, so make them just bearable size, about right here. The shoes now. The shoes have decor on them, so they do in fact need to be a pretty decent size. About right here would do. While the back of the heels don't have a lot going on, but they still need to be a decent size. So about right here would be fine. What are you? The inside of the shoes. You're kind of worthless, so you go small about right here. The bow, I believe. Yep. Just gonna duplicate that. Why is he doing that? There we go. Thought I turned off X-axis in the menu. Oh well. Move that back into place. So now our bows can share the same topology. So select all of them. And found a place for them. And I think right here, since it's a solid color, I think right here would do. Selecting all these ribbons. Scale them all down. They are one solid color. They don't need that much room. And put them right here. These, however, will need to be sort of big because they do got a lot of details. About right there would be fine. What are you? Ah, this the stars. Star will go in body. That's not supposed to be there. Another ribbon. This time on the neck, so it needs a lot of space. Put it right in here. What are you? The neck ribbon part. I think all this is a neck ribbon part. So yep, moving this part in here. And they can go right in here. Yep, the leg ribbon are 90. These can go right here, in here, and this one are 90, can go right here. The hat needs a lot of space, so I'll go ahead and put it in right in here. Rotate this just to try to get as much space as possible on the UV grid. We see we are in fact running out of room, which is perfectly fine. That just means we have to change the scaling of a few things. Pure red right there. What is this? The under hat. That can be real small, so we're fine. Put that right there. This is the waist. This one needs to be big as well. Maybe not as big as this one, so we'll swap the places of these. Yeah, this is a good area for it. You can honestly make that smaller and put it right in here. Or to rotate and scale it down. Alright, these are the neck ribbons, and that's the last of them. Oh no, wait, these are the arm ribbons. So the part that goes on the inside, we can honestly hide it in here. This outside part we can hide, not hide per se, but we can store it right here. But this part here, we need both of them. We can put these right in here. This one can go in here. moving these around to give us just a little bit more room. Yep, and this part will be almost the last. Let's go ahead and scale this down. I think we can scale down the legs just a little bit. Give us just a little bit more room. Yeah, that worked out great. Now we can have a little bit of room right up here. And that's it. We completely unwrapped the legs. All the fabric parts. So now all we gotta do is go through each and apply the mirror modifier. Apply. Solidify. 0.1. Feet. Hat is fine. Leg ribbons are fine. Apply that mirror modifier. Legs are fine. Neck ribbons. Waist ribbons. Wrist ribbons. Alright. We got it all done. File. Save. Next one is going to be... let's do endo next.